Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings, and in this video I want to talk about the shadow government, the deep state, the coup d'etat against Donald Trump, and all the other topics that seem like they're out of a spy novel, but reality, they're truth in our political discourse today. And of course, I am talking about the New York Times piece saying, quote, "I am part of the resistance inside the Trump administration." And I not only wanted to go over this piece and explain what it means, but also the two possible explanations to who is actually behind this. Now, before we start, just know that this broadcast is sponsored by the viewer and listener, you yourself, through our website, wearechange.org/donate, where if it wasn't for your contributions and donations, we would not exist. So thank you again, everyone who keeps us alive and also subscribes to our email list that we're still not using yet, but will when we inevitably get censored or blacklisted from websites. You know, the big social tech monopoly websites that are censoring people left and right. Now, conspiracy theories were spread far and wide today, just moments ago, after the New York Times released an article with a byline that says, quote, "I work for the president, but like-minded colleagues and I have vowed to thwart part of his agenda and his worst inclinations." An anonymous op-ed allegedly from someone within Donald Trump's administration, whose identity has been kept secret because it would jeopardize this person and his job for Donald Trump. Because, you know, they openly wrote about how this person and other people within the White House are openly working together to undermine Donald Trump. You know, also known as like a secret cabal, sort of like the deep state that has been described by many people, that the New York Times previously wrote didn't exist at all, but now fully back the idea with this anonymous post that they posted through their publication. A topic that we have been discussing on this YouTube channel for a number of years now and have been ridiculed for even bringing it up, even though many scholars and other world leaders have admitted to the fact that yes, there are shadowy interests working in secrets to benefit themselves. An idea that the New York Times legitimized today, even though they mocked it not so long ago. Now, this supposed alleged anonymous source within Trump's administration who is working against him, for some reason decided to first praise Donald Trump for a, quote, historic tax reform and a more robust military, which again are very establishment right-wing points, but then went on to say that the erratic behavior would be more concerning if it weren't for unsung heroes in and around the White House. Quote, "Some of his aides have been cast as villains by the media, but in private, they have gone to great lengths to keep bad decisions contained to the West Wing, though they are clearly not always successful." The article goes on, "Take foreign policy. In public and in private, President Trump shows a preference for autocrats and dictators." Oh, so he talks to people instead of just bombing the crap out of them. The article goes on, "Such as President Vladimir Putin of Russia and North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un, and displays little genuine appreciation for the ties that bind us to allied, like-minded nations." So this person is mad at Donald Trump for actually negotiating peace with North Korea and not aggravating tensions, which, again, Donald Trump has been doing through his foreign policy even more with Russia. So what this anonymous person is saying is that Donald Trump is not enough of a war hawk. Then later in the article, they go on to praise U.S. Senator John McCain, who recently passed away, saying, quote, "We may no longer have Senator McCain, but we will always have his example, a loudster for restoring honor to public life and our national dialogue. Mr. Trump may fear such honorable men, but we should revere them." And after scrolling through and reading this entire article, I'm left feeling like it was just written by some bloodthirsty neocon warhawk who's just whining about Donald Trump's personality, mainly complaining what I and other people deem as comparatively the saner qualities of Donald Trump, with him being anti-trade and anti-starting a war with Russia. The article goes on, "Although he was elected as a Republican, the president shows little affinity for ideas long espoused by conservatives." Again, this anonymous person who is clearly very right-wing, who is being celebrated by the left-wingers now in the, quote, resistance movement, is mad that Donald Trump isn't following the GOP orthodoxy, ideas which Glenn Greenwald points out he didn't campaign on. And now this person and other groups of people around him are working covertly to push their own ideas and agenda onto him. Unelected people who are trying to subvert someone who was elected, overriding his orders undemocratically, while they're saying Donald Trump is anti-democratic, while they're untransparent, unelected, covert cabal who is pushing their own right-wing ideologies of war is somehow democratic. And then people on the left are buying this as a supposedly democratic form of resistance. What? This does not make sense. Now, if you read the letter from the basic premise that is presented to us, it is, without a doubt, a right-wing neocon writing this letter, but for the left to idolize and to cheer this on and to call this a member of their resistance just flips their whole political ideology 180 degrees, and they're so convoluted with their vitriol and hatred for Donald Trump that they're not even seeing their entire policy and principles shift and change through this very moment that's happening right now. And now, of course, Donald Trump is having a heyday with this news that just came out, tweeting up a tweet storm, recently just saying now, are the investigative journalists of the New York Times going to investigate themselves? Who is the anonymous letter writer? Again, it is important to note that Donald Trump is having a heyday attacking the mainstream media because of this recent op-ed that was published by the New York Times that, of course, is spreading like wildfire all over the news networks. He even tweeted treason, and some of his reporters are calling for prison terms for not only this alleged whistleblower, but also the New York Times themselves for publishing this piece. He tweeted earlier today, the deep state and the left and their vehicle, the fake news media, are going crazy, and they don't know what to do. The economy is booming like never before, jobs are at a historic high, soon 2 Supreme Court justices, and maybe declassification to find additional corruption. Wow. I'm draining the swamp, and the swamp is trying to fight back. Don't worry, we will win. Obviously, a very galvanizing call to bolster his base and to use this opportunity to talk about some of his, quote, achievements that he thinks he personally achieved despite this supposed alleged insider trying to thwart him. And he even went on questioning the legitimacy of this, quote, insider source, saying, quote, does the so-called senior administration official really exist, or is it just a failing New York Times with another phony source? If the gutless anonymous person does indeed exist, the Times must, for national security purpose, turn him, her over to government at once. Now, of course, with such grand statements and speculations coming from both sides of this case, there needs to be serious questions asked, and I think one of the major ones is, if this supposed insider thwarted something, what did he or she actually thwart? And I think before we actually acknowledge or understand that this did or didn't happen with an actual example of it, we should be very skeptical of this news source, because there is a lot of political benefit to gain from this entire propaganda effort that we're seeing unfold right in front of us. Either the New York Times publishing something just for the fact that they're wanting more of a ratings boost that hasn't been officially verified, or the opposite of that, and that's why I wanted to entertain 2 of the most possible outcomes that I think are most likely here. And it does need to be said that this op-ed does bolster Donald Trump's base that is mainly anti-establishment and voted him in because he was against both political parties. And this does bolster his image and message amongst those people, which he has lost a portion of, especially after very significant aggressive foreign policy actions when it comes to the actions that he took in Syria and the actions he's taken against Iran. Now, of course, this is without note the calming of tensions and the simmering down of tensions that also has happened and does need to be addressed with North Korea and Russia. But again, a significant base of Donald Trump has been disillusioned with a lot of his mainstream actions, GOP actions that he has taken that really went back on some of the promises he made when he was campaigning. And that's why the first theory that many people are thinking is a possibility is that this is Donald Trump placing fake news into the mainstream media in order to bolster his reputation. And again, Donald Trump has done this before, as previously he has even masqueraded as a publicist to brag about himself to other reporters, saying that he was a spokesperson named John Miller in order to give information to reporters about himself. Now, that's the first first theory that a lot of people are speculating is what is behind this new anonymous op-ed by the New York Times. And the second one is that, yes, this is actually someone within his administration and that is compromising him and is very close to him. And this is backed up by the evidence that there have been many leaks within the White House, embarrassing leaks of information that we previously have never seen in other administrations. And although Donald Trump's talk against leakers and whistleblowers has been very heavy, his actions haven't matched his predecessor, Barack Obama, that persecuted and used the Espionage Act more than all the other presidents before them to go after them. And Donald Trump has not done that, but has been the victim of many leaks internally from the White House, which back up this claim that this could actually be legitimate. Even fellow Trump supporter Mike Cernovich tweeted out that 90% of people working within the White House agree with this op-ed, and that, quote, none of this news was news to him with the specific sources that he has within the administration. And the second theory that I think is credible in this analysis is that this is most likely the current defense secretary for Donald Trump, James Mathis, who was behind this piece. Because it has been previously reported that James Mathis, the evidence that supports this is the fact that James Mathis has been discussed to be replaced for a very long time within the White House. There were many internal reports saying that Donald Trump doesn't even listen to Mathis, and the two have even publicly disagreed, giving out statements that contradicted each other a number of times, specifically around the topic of Iran, many times disagreeing with each other publicly and issuing contradicting statements about an official policy that they were supposed to represent together as one administration. And with the political viewpoints of Mathis, they would, without a doubt, definitely fall in line with this recent anonymous op-ed by the New York Times. Now, there's also a third theory out there that this is most likely Vice President Mike Pence, since the writing style and speech style is very similar to his. And then there's still about like 50 other theories and speculations about who is actually behind this, if actually anyone is. For me, for my research and my analysis, the first two theories I believe are more plausible than the other ones, but most importantly, all of this is just based on circumstantial evidence. I could claim here like I know exactly who it is, but that would be very dishonest, and that's not what we're here to do. We're here for the discussion, we're here to learn from each other, and that's why, most importantly, what do you think? Out of the two theories that I presented, which one do you think is more plausible? I always read and answer comments the first hour that videos are out, so don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel and click the notification button while we're still here and not deplatformed at all. But most importantly, I'm very much looking forward to your feedback, your analysis, and what you personally think about this matter, since again, the real truth of this is still yet to come out. If you thought this video was insightful in any way, please share it with your friends and family members. Thank you once again for everyone supporting us on WeAreChange.org/donate. We're gonna have a lot more content coming here your way, mainly because of you, and that's why I love you guys. Thank you again so much for watching. Stay tuned for a lot more.